Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of the Pritchard Cycling News Show. Coming up later in the show we're going to be recapping all the action from stage 12 of the Tour de France today. But first it's that time of the week again when we chat with Laura Fletcher from the Peloton Brief and we get her views on the Peter Sagan Sprint Saga as well as stage 1 of the Giro Rosa, which is starting tomorrow. And on top of all that, Laura has got a little surprise for us all. Take it away, Laura.
We can start with this. I actually learned something really interesting today, which I had no idea about, and probably pretty important going into the next stages of the tour. I always thought, all my years in cycling, that a gruppetto was just out the back, and you sort of regroup as you get there, right? And the guys sort of come out the back, and then they make a thing. Apparently, often the older road captains in the race, at some point in the climb, because they have so much experience of knowing how to make time cut, and at what point you can sort of sit up in gruppetto, is that somebody will go gruppetto and call the gruppetto to form.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just stragglers off the back and eventually
Apparently they kind of make a call together a lot. I mean, sometimes it is just out the back, but sometimes it's a chosen thing. Oh, wow. And they go, okay, at this point we can sit up, go easy, and still make time cut. So
yeah, that's pretty interesting,
right? Wow. Little factoid to start your day.
And there's going to be plenty of those over the next coming days, isn't there?
Yeah,
let's be honest, plenty of gruppettos. Yesterday it was a boring stage, surprise, but all the action happened afterwards. Really, what's your
in the last 200 meters?
Yeah,
yeah. Too much debate. And Twitter cracks me up whenever this happens. There's always, it's just everybody has an opinion about what should or shouldn't happen, and whether it was a selfie stick that caused it, or whether, in comparing it back to Cavendish, which seems to be the hot topic of this year, is comparing everything back to that crash in 2017. I don't know. Personally, I think everybody needs to calm the hell down a bit and stop, Stop trying to crash into each other. And I mean, in my opinion, it is dangerous, but
it's a tough one because someone left a comment saying, what was he supposed to do?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said to them, he had 166 kilometers to make sure he was in the right position, and he was just in the wrong position, and he should have gone, screw it, I'm in the wrong position. And because if he'd have stayed where he was or got another place higher, then he would still be in the hunt for the green jersey. But because he went but I think that was more down to frustration of how he's been performing over the past couple of sprints, isn't it? Rather than him trying to be that aggressive. I think he took his frustration out on it all.
And I do think that it's frustrating to see how the public and the media and everybody treat the riders that are at the top of the game that maybe are having not a great season, or it hasn't come together. And every year there's these new young guys that are getting better. And I don't think anybody can fault Sagan for his career. It's an absolutely brilliant career. And if it isn't the same in the future, he is still an absolutely brilliant bike rider. Which is, when you look at Marcel and Cavendish and Greipel, even the kind of shit they get. And I think it's really, especially with the sprinters, because I think when it falls off, it tends to fall off quite quickly.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have your head in the game. So if you don't believe you can win a sprint, you're never going to win a sprint.
Right. Let's move on to the ladies.
Yes.
Giro Rosa starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow with the team time trial.
So. Right. Do we look anywhere past Middleton Scott, Annemiek van Vleuten, and Amanda Spratt?
Well, Canyon SRAM is arguably the best team time trial team in the world, and they've brought in Lisa Klein, who's a time trial specialist, into the roster, which is not, she's not one of your, obvious winners in races. So I think that Canyon will probably produce a really, really good result tomorrow in the team time trial. Equipment's good. Team is very well practiced. You've got Han Barnes in there, who's also fantastic on the TT. Mm-hmm. So they're definitely going in with high ambitions, and I think they won it last year. And, I think that will be the one to watch as far as the opening stage.
Yeah. But then beyond that, Annemiek all the way?
I think it's really, really difficult to set. I mean, of course, Annemiek is the clear favorite going into the race, and Annemiek is the clear favorite going into absolutely every race she races at. But if you look at Lacourse, you can see that she is beatable. And I think that the teams that are riding against her, or sorry, the other teams, they definitely have a bit of fresh motivation after seeing the result at Lacourse to know that you're not just racing for podium places at the race. So I think we'll see a lot of attacks, a lot of aggressive racing, and see a lot of girls trying to actually get onto that top step. So.
Oh, sweet. And we spoke to Cecile last week, which is coming out now. What are her chances? What do you think her chances are of getting some good results and potential stage wins?
I think she'll have some great results. She's always an exciting rider to watch. So they've brought a really strong team. Maybe the only thing that's happened with the FDJ's team and the way that, and their race, their roster going into this year is with the abbreviated schedule. They had a few new riders come in, Cecile and Brody, who are two of the team leaders, and neither of them have raced a lot with the team. So this is going to be a big chance for them, but after only a few race days, they might still be sorting the tactics a bit, but both Brody and Cecile, they could race without teams, fair enough. So
exactly.
I think we'll see both of them really creating some bold racing this week.
You girls have only been racing, you've had 3 or 4 races together as a team. You're kind of still bonding, I guess, as you've just signed for this team. How's that going to play out in the Giro? Because it's a long old stage race and you all need to be really tight. Do you worry about that?
No, I mean, because I feel like, of course, it's always better if you would have known each other for and ridden with each other for years and know each other's weaknesses. But the thing is, both Brody, Emilia, and I live here in Girona. So I feel that during this period, we've also come to know each other pretty well. And yeah, I mean, for now, I feel it's gonna be pretty good. I feel we're pretty connected. And of course, it will have some difficulties, but I think so does everyone else.
Are you going to be riding the Giro with one eye on the World Championships? And talking of the Worlds, that new course round Imola, is that something that's going to suit you?
My God, when I was Imola, I was okay, I need to check out. And then I was this course looks freaking awesome. It's I love racing in Italy and with these passionate people. And it's just, and the Imola course looks mega cool. Just mega sharp, short climbs, 1.3K, 1.5K. I can squeeze my ass up though. If you come well out of the Giro and you're and stay on your bike, I think Imola is so nice course. I'm so excited. 144 kilometers. Yeah, I'm already excited about Imola.
So do you ride the Giro with that in mind and just hold back a little bit, or do you go full gas?
No.
Okay.
You go full gas. Gas.
Any other business?
So for anybody who subscribes to this channel and watches these regularly, I just wanted to let everybody know that I had a hilarious birthday present given to me last night. My birthday is in July, to be fair, so it's a very late birthday present. And the thing is, this was completely unrelated to them having watched last week's coverage. They had my friend Dave, he's Dave Grit, the master of gravel riding in Girona, had actually ordered this for me before my birthday, and it took so long to get here. But in great hilarity, I have been given, and will probably be wearing it every single day now, this brilliant
No way.
Gerald Steiner team jersey.
Oh my God. That's just what we wanted.
I know. If anybody's looking for a side hustle.
What was the reason behind getting that? Is he trying to tell you something?
The story. I told him the same story, but then he took it upon himself to just go and buy me the replica kit.
Wow.
Funny guy. So thought I'd share that with everybody. They are still available online, clearly. I think luckily this is a new one. It hasn't been used for anything else before.
Yeah, it's worth checking. It's still got the tags on, you're fine.
I think we're all right.
Next up, and stage 12 of the Tour de France saw the riders starting to make their way back into the massive central for a relatively hilly stage. This one was 218 kilometers long. It had 2 4-cat climbs in there, a 3rd cat and a 2nd cat climb coming only 26 kilometers from the finish. So with this 2nd cat climb coming 26 kilometers from the finish, if there was any sprinters who could make it up and over in the top group, well, it was going to come down to a bunch sprint. However, I believe this stage is made for a breakaway. However, the winner wouldn't come from the original breakaway that went up the road, and 150 kilometers to go. They had a lead of 1 minute and 40 seconds, and there were 6 riders in that breakaway. Eventually, that 6-man group was brought back in by the majority of the peloton, and then it was another attack that went away with Marc Soler, Tiesj Benoot and Kragh Andersen, 2 Sunweb riders, putting themselves up the road in what would be one of the best tactical decisions on this race so far, because moments later they were followed by another 3 riders, Max Schachmann, Quentin Paché, and that man, Marc Hirschi. You remember Marc Hirschi, right? He was 2nd on stage 2, he was 3rd on stage 9, and well, let's just see how he got on in this one. And you can see from this tweet here, this is essentially what happened to the race with just under 40 kilometers to go. The race has split into parts with several chasing groups forming. It was all just all over the road. And at 34 kilometers, that lead group of Marc Soler, Max Schachmann, Marc Hirschi, Kragh Andersen, Paché and Tiesj Benoot were getting themselves up the road, and they had 36 seconds on the peloton and 22 seconds on the chasing group behind. And on the final Cat 2 climb, Sukhumvit, I don't know how you say it, Sukhumvit. I don't know how to pronounce that. But anyway, Marc Hirschi, he attacked and went solo. He crossed the summit, making sure he claimed all the bonus points, and he was well on his way. And you can see there, 19 seconds on the second group, 36 seconds on the third group, and 1 minute and 26 all the way back to that peloton. And coming into the final kilometre, Hirschi was still on it. He was still pressing. He had around 40 to 50 seconds on the group still, so there was no chance of them catching him, but he was still pressing on all the way. This man deserves it more than anybody else in the Tour de France. Marc Hirschi takes his first, and I can guarantee not last, Tour de France victory. Absolutely unbelievable ride from Marc Hirschi. Rider of the day, potentially rider of this tour as well, because he's put in some stellar performances. And like I said, I don't think this is going to be his last stage win, although now he's got one, they're not going to let him get over the road again like he did today. It was almost a 30-kilometre solo attack. And that group chasing him that had Alaphilippe in it, there was a couple of Sunweb riders in there, Pierre Rolland was in there. Nobody could get away from that group to try and chase him down. And what played into Hirschi's hands was the composition of that group. You had Alaphilippe in there, you had a couple of Sunweb riders in there, Pierre Rolland was in there, but no one was willing to let Alaphilippe get up the road because they wanted to be part of that chase. But everybody just chased him back down, and it became a very negative race from their point of view. Pierre Rolland managed to actually break away to get 2nd place, but all that rest of that group came in and sprinted for 3rd place. But the day belongs to Marc Hirschi. Alaphilippe tried and tried and tried again, as you'd expect, but his form that we saw last year just isn't quite there. Plus, no one was ever going to let him get up the road, so he was always fighting a losing battle in that group. But Marc Hirschi, ride of the day, ride of the tour so far. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you've not done already. If you dislike the video for whatever reason, go to hell and then leave me a comment down below. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll be back again tomorrow. See there. Oh, and I should just point out, if any of this has been very, very incoherent, forgive me, I am still ill. But it's not corona. Safe.